Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before the 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Now, let's begin in a bit of national news. A suspect is reported to be in police custody following a shooting on the campus of Florida State University that left at least 6 people injured. The university shared an alert just after noon reporting an active shooter in the area of the student union. The Associated Press reported just before 2 this afternoon that a person familiar with the matter said a suspect involved was taken into police custody. At least 6 victims were taken to the Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. Hospital officials told our sister station in Tallahassee, and as of right now, we know 5 of the victims are in serious condition and 1 is in critical condition. Now, we have learned just this afternoon that campus police has ended the lockdown, but we'll continue to keep you updated on this truly awful situation coming up in our evening newscast as we learn more. But now moving out to the Shoals, where a Tuscumbia teenager was recently denied youthful offender status for a capital murder charge back in 2021. Azaline Flint was 15 years old at the time when he was arrested and charged with the robbery and shooting death of 19-year-old Miguel Adame in Florence. Flint's co-defendant was also 15 years old at the time of the shooting. He was also charged with capital murder and previously applied for youthful offender status, but it was denied by a judge as well. He asked the judge to reconsider that co-defendant has another youthful offender status hearing on May 9th. Now, arraignment for Flint is scheduled for May 23rd at 9 a.m. But now heading out to Huntsville, where a man charged in the shooting death of his roommate was also denied immunity. Paul Rambert is charged with murder for the 2022 shooting death of Michael Williams. He claims he only shot Williams in self-defense, however, adding that him and Williams were arguing over some missing property when Williams started beating him up. He said Williams was about 75 pounds heavier than him and he feared for his life as he was losing the fight. He said hospital records show some of the wounds, including a gash on his head. Prosecutors say that what Rambert told the court didn't line up exactly with what he told investigators, however. They also argued that Williams was simply using physical force, which can't legally be met with deadly force. The judge agreed and earlier today denied immunity. But now let's talk about the weather. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis with a look at what he's seeing on the radar today. Brad?
It's been getting warmer out there, noticeably more humidity over the next 24 hours. And you're going to go from the heater to the air conditioning over the coming days. You may have already made that switch. It's just that time of year. Now it's trying to figure out the wardrobe. Lots of green out there right now. 79 degrees in Huntsville just before 3:30 on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. 79 on the Parkway in Huntsville. Traffic, it's getting heavier. That's usually what happens right before 4 o'clock too. Temperatures everywhere right around 80, 81 Athens, 81 in Muscle Shoals, 79 in Huntsville. Over the next 12 hours, you don't need a jacket tonight. Look at those temperatures. 68 at 10 o'clock, 65 at 1 a.m. Morning lows in the upper 50s. Easter Sunday's looking a little bit better. We're still looking at clouds. Storms late in the day, and I think the best chance is still in the Shoals. And overnight into Monday morning, that translates and tracks to the east. Here's your 3-day forecast. Lots of 80s there, 84 Saturday. Maybe even 81 to 83 Sunday, depends on the cloud cover out there and, of course, that chance of rain. We'll be going hour by hour through your weekend forecast today at 4, 5, 6, and then again at 10.
Well, yesterday, in case you missed it, we learned that 3 are now dead after a boat collision on Smith Lake. They were on the lake to take part in a fishing tournament put on by Major League Fishing. 48's Nick Ballinger with the details.
A beautiful day for fishing on Coleman County's Smith Lake quickly turned tragic. Around 7 a.m. Wednesday morning, 2 boats crashed during a Major League Fishing event, killing 3. Fishermen on the lake are heartbroken.
We always hate for anybody to get hurt or killed. fishing. Whether it's tournament fishing or pleasure fishing, it's a shame.
44-year-old John Clark from Coleman and 62-year-old Jeffrey Little from Mississippi were identified as two of the victims by the Coleman County coroner. The third is 58-year-old Joey Broom. Broom is a town councilman in Sneed, Alabama. The mayor spoke to one of our sister stations saying, quote, "He always had a smile on his face. No one ever had a bad thing to say about him." Now, officials with Major League Fishing say pro angler Flint Davis from Georgia was injured and involved in the crash. Executive Vice President of MLF Kathy Fennell said, quote, "This is a heartbreaking moment for our entire organization." Fisherman Slick Johnson captured this video of Davis's boat with the engine completely torn off.
It's a wide open lake, and you think, well, it should be safer, and it really is safe. But you know, you never know where somebody's going to be, and it was just a situation, and it was a bang bang thing.
The rest of the MLF tournament is canceled as the investigation continues.
And of course, 48's Noah Cowell will continue to follow up on this situation coming up in our evening newscast. He is back at Smith Lake today. I believe he is talking to some in the Sneed community. Of course, a city council member of Sneed was tragically killed in that situation. But he'll have all the latest details coming up in our evening newscasts. But now heading out to Huntsville, as the city continues to plan for new growth, the school district is also preparing for an influx of students over the next several years. A more recent developing portion of the city resides in Limestone County, in the area around the Greenbrier Preserve. 48's Matthew King spoke with Carlos Matthews, who represents the school board's District 5 area, which includes the Limestone County portion of the city. He said some of the growth citywide is happening faster than the schools can keep up with. School leaders approved a capital plan in 2024, which maps out the systems plan for expansion throughout the city. The plan includes a P8 school in Limestone County, but Matthews said growth may be happening faster than the plan called for. He said in the short term, the school system has to use other ways to combat growth. Take a listen.
Schools are designed to add wings to them to be able to accomplish what we're trying to do is reduce the overcrowding of the schools. But there becomes a time when you run out of land and out of wings to be able to do that, and you have to look for other opportunities to be able to do that. And it's not just in District 5, it's across the city. You know, all of those things will impact the plan, so we can only plan for what we know exists today and build for our city. We can't kind of go off of what may come, but we know that if these things do come, then plans may have to change and we may have to make some improvements in other areas to accommodate.
And staying in Huntsville, Easter is right around the corner this Sunday, and you've probably been thinking about eggs and the price of eggs for a little while now. But right now, it appears they're trending in the right direction. The latest USDA report released says wholesale egg prices have dropped nearly 50% since February. Prices peaked at over $8.50 per dozen and now are hovering around $4. But the report says demand for Easter eggs may drive up prices for this week. 48's Nick Ballinger recently spoke to the Batter Up Bakery owner, Allison Pomeroy, who was struggling to find eggs at a reasonable price. She says the price decrease is a weight off her shoulders. Take a listen.
We were starting to really worry because we were pulling from savings and we were moving money over. So to see the numbers start coming down some is a huge benefit to us, but it's also going to be a benefit to our customer because it means we can kind of try to keep things as close to the same as we have been.
Well, good deal. And now a look at the latest Huntsville area Crime Stoppers to see who 48's Gina Benitez and Huntsville Police need your help stopping this week.
Police are highlighting two crimes this week, one that happened last month and another that happened more than 2 years ago. A killer and an accused creep are still out there, and police want them both caught. Last month, police say this man drove up to the Chick-fil-A on Thrasher Lane in Madison. Employees, two of whom are under 21, told police he made sexual comments toward them. Police say he then started dropping items and asking the young women to pick them up. After the manager came by, the man drove off. If you know who he is, authorities want to hear from you. And now we're taking you back to January 4th, 2023, when bullets started flying at the Sun Lake at Edgewater apartments. Several units were shot into, and some of those bullets went into Andrew Gillum's apartment. He was killed while sleeping. Crime Stoppers is offering $1,000 for any information leading to an arrest, and the family is offering an additional $25,000, but only until May 31st. If you have any information that could help police catch this killer, call them. Take a look at Stephanie Dillard. She is wanted for a probation violation on an assault charge. Huntsville police say Brenda Mason stole multiple items and cash from an elderly victim at a nursing home. She's wanted for financial exploitation of the elderly. James Burleson is accused of being involved in an assault and then violating his probation. David Judd is also wanted for a probation violation. Madison police say Marquita Hobbs created a fraudulent Cash App account using the identity of an elderly person suffering from dementia. She's wanted for identity theft. Carlos McRary is a sex offender, but authorities say he failed to register as one. Authorities say Stephen Cantrell attempted to pass a forged check at a local bank. Perez Alexander, meanwhile, who is charged with sodomy, is wanted for a probation violation. And Natalie Jett is accused of stealing a gun from someone. It's easy to earn up to $1,000 if you have information that can help police. Just call 256-53-CRIME or scan that QR code on your screen. For more information, visit the Crime Stoppers link on our website, WAFF.com.
And now moving over to Sand Mountain, where a church in Albertville is continuing to rebuild after a fire left it severely damaged last year. 48 Savannah Sapp reports.
This fellowship hall right behind me is what's left of the original Mount Olive Baptist Church after it was severely damaged in a fire last March. But just a few feet away, new beginnings await. This is a look at the scene in March of 2024 when a wiring issue caused a large fire that damaged the Sunday school building at Mount Olive Baptist.
And, it just wasn't the loss of a church. It was just a part of the community that we lost as well.
Jason Goggins has been a member of the church for nearly 30 years. He tells me the fire damaged much of the building where Sunday school was held, and smoke damage spread to the sanctuary, causing the entire building to require demolition. However, the community surrounded the congregation in support as they navigated holding services in their much smaller fellowship hall.
We had one church donate pews, another donated a pulpit for us to use. We actually had a lady in the community that donated a piano for us to have.
Also a member of the building committee, Goggins says the church community is excited to see this new construction coming along. The sanctuary will be ADA accessible with a new space for Sunday school and even conference rooms.
Glad that we can rebuild this. We can never replace what was there, but we hope that we can build something that honors the memory of what was there.
And the construction here is not affecting service times here at Mount Olive Baptist. Goggins tells me Easter service will go as planned in the fellowship hall Sunday morning with a sunrise service, breakfast at a church member's home, and then normal Sunday service at 10 a.m. Reporting in Albertville, Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
And now in a bit of Tennessee news, a miracle is what South African authorities are calling a rescue mission for the Maryville pastor who was kidnapped last week. Shay Smith reports.
David Witt says his prayers to God have now turned into praise. South African police rescued his son-in-law Josh Sullivan late Monday night after suspected kidnappers held him for ransom for almost a week.
The victim was recovered inside the vehicle and medically checked and was unharmed.
Sullivan was preaching a sermon during a Wednesday night service when a group of armed men took him. Witt says his son called him from South Africa when Sullivan was rescued.
Immediately, I knew something was up, so I answered it, and it was him and his sister, my daughter Megan, and he said 3 words. He said, "We got him."
Megan also told Witt that Sullivan was unharmed.
Her words at the time were, "He's not hurt, Dad. He's not hurt." And what she was doing, she was praising God for what the outcome could have been, and in man's eyes should have been.
South African police say this is where Sullivan was being kept. They say when they got there, there was a high-intensity shootout and 3 suspects were killed. But there was one person inside the vehicle when the bullets were flying who was completely unharmed. That was Sullivan. South African police and the family are calling it a miracle.
There were actually 5 people in that vehicle. My son-in-law, the 3 kidnappers, and Jesus.
And now coming up after the break, we'll talk about the latest we know about the ongoing search for the next police chief in Decatur, highlighting West Limestone's softball as they near the postseason. In a bit of state news, Lulu's Law one step closer to being signed into law. And of course, the good side. You're just not going to want to miss it. It's all ahead. I'll be right back in 1 minute. All right, the time is up. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, in a bit of state news, earlier today, House Bill 437, or better known as Lulu's Law, was passed in the Alabama House of Representatives today. The bill is inspired by 15-year-old Lulu Gribben after she was attacked by a shark off the coast of Florida last year. If passed in the Senate and signed into law by Governor Kay Ivey, it would create a shark alert system for Alabama beaches capable of sharing information to mobile devices and first responders on duty. Take a listen to what Lulu had to say after today's vote.
It was such a good experience to be here, and it really means a lot to me just to keep the environment safe and to be able to maybe prevent future accidents, and I was just so excited that it passed.
Boy, is she strong. It's amazing courage that she has. I'm so proud of her. There's no telling what God's going to do in her life. I mean, he's already using her in so many ways to touch so many people's lives.
And I just realized I said mobile devices. Obviously, I meant mobile devices, but sorry about that, y'all. But awesome new bill that just got passed in the House today. So it now heads to the Senate, and then if passed in the Senate, it will go to Governor Kay Ivey's desk where she can sign it into law. But now moving over to Decatur, where the search for its next police chief remains ongoing. 48's Callie Neese with the latest on how that search is going. Decatur police yesterday interviewed one for the role. Callie with the details.
During the interview, Mack told council members the news he has seen is a stain to law enforcement. He says he wants to change that. He says that he has a 90-day plan to help build trust within the department and the community if he gets the job. The plan would include meeting with officers in the department and people around the community to learn more about what they want to see from the department. Earlier today, I spoke with Councilman Carlton McMasters. He says that originally the council had picked 3 candidates to interview. All but one dropped out of the selection process. He says one of the candidates dropped out for a military obligation, and he told me he's not sure why the other candidate dropped. McMasters says even though this is the only interview they are having, that doesn't mean Mack will be the candidate they choose.
He's very highly qualified, has a very impressive resume. I just feel strongly that we should not hire the only person we interview. I think we should, and that's not to say he's not qualified, but it's like we should interview more than one person. I think our residents and the department deserve that.
McMasters says that he and the people of Decatur just want to see the right person for the job.
The reaction has been primarily, that they want to get the right person in, and that's ultimately what we want as well.
Well, high school softball playoffs are coming up here in the state of Alabama, and 48's Cam Durr takes us to West Limestone, where the team is preparing to make a deep run. Take a listen.
Most teams are like family. And for the West Limestone Wildcats, having a throwing partner is never a problem because not one, not two, not even three, but 4 sets of sisters make up the softball team.
But it is fun, like, having us all, like, different families out here and getting to, like, play and have memories with your sister that you'll have forever.
And as you can imagine, sometimes siblings have their disagreements.
All the time. All the time.
Every game.
Yeah, all the time.
But they're always there when you need a pick-me-up.
It's good that she's just in the dugout with me at all times and she can just help, and she's always there to support me.
I want her to be the best she can be, and I want to be the best I can be, obviously. So, I mean, we work together in that way.
And I just like being able to be a part of the team and being able to watch her do something that she loves.
Or when you need some tough love.
One of the other sisters is getting on another sister. So they take care of things before I even have to think about it again. So that's really funny to see because it makes my job super easy. So yeah, they see things and see the younger ones doing stuff and they take care of it before I have to. So it's great.
And maybe that all has something to do with the Wildcats' success this season. The girls are 32-5 overall, undefeated in region play, and they rank inside the top 10 in the state for Class 4A. The Wildcats are just 3 games away from reaching the postseason, a goal that they've been working towards all year.
Play as hard as we can for the person beside us, not just for us, and I think that makes us even better because we're willing to put the work in, not just for ourselves, but the people beside us.
Reporting in Leicester, Cam Durr, 48 Sports, on your side.
And now just into our newsroom, we have now learned that 2 people have been killed and at least 5 wounded in that shooting I mentioned earlier at Florida State University. Stay tuned to our evening newscast for all the latest as we continue to learn more. But now let's turn over to the good side, and today we're looking at a project that is bringing smiles to foster children's faces with American Girl dolls. Take a look.
Historically, I was a doll collector.
For Sue Graham, there's something about an American Girl doll.
I just thought that the concept and everything about the company was really positive girl, positive interaction. And I thought, this is great.
And that magic is something she wanted to share. So 3 years ago, she began a passion project to restore American Girl dolls and give them to children in foster care.
My hope with this project is to really shine a bright light on these children that through no fault of their own really deserve to feel loved. While we can't physically love them, we can give them love in small ways, like this.
80% of the dolls donated, Sue purchased herself. She travels for work, and everywhere she goes, she scours online sellers for dolls.
I always leave room in my luggage so that I have space for a little bit extra.
Then she'll spend upwards of 8 hours meticulously restoring a single doll. That could mean a simple cleanup to a completely new paint job or even a new wig. The end result is a new or nearly new doll. Then each doll is individually wrapped up and set aside for delivery. She's brought toys to foster organizations in the Bay Area where she lives most of the time, but part of her heart is here in northern Nevada, and the bulk of her donations have gone to the kids' cottage. In fact, 20 were delivered this last Christmas.
And they're so excited that somebody cares this much.
She also delivered dolls to the Koinonia foster home. Each doll is sent with a book and activity and clothes.
It means hope, that somebody really cares. This is made really special. I mean, this ends up being a really special gift with a lot of love.
Traditionally, Sue's delivered the toys at Christmas, and she's already working on the batch for this year, but ultimately her goal is to make year-round deliveries, bringing smiles when kids need them the most.
Awesome story there. Now let's head into the stories that you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. The latest on the police chase in Huntsville that left one officer injured. Get those details coming up. A new piece of technology coming to one Shoals jail that could save lives. 48's Aria Pons will have those details. And the latest on a kidnapping in Jackson County. 48 Savannah Sapp with more on that. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And it is that time. Once again, it is, of course, time for Facebook fun. Our 48 Facebook question of the day: what's a food you hated as a kid? And I definitely know one that I hated as a kid, without a doubt, but I am going to save that one for a little bit later on in the stream. I want to know what some foods you hated as a kid, and let's see. Green peas. Tracy, me and you both. I am not a fan of green peas. I've never really liked them. No, that was never something I liked. Jeffrey said cottage cheese. No, I don't know. I can get behind some cottage cheese. I don't mind that. Catherine, tomatoes, and still do. Now, I do not agree with you on that. I can't even imagine not liking tomatoes. On a hot summer day, get some tomato sandwich with some mayonnaise on it. That is what I call the summer. Christine, I could see that. Brussels sprouts. I can imagine not a lot of kids would like to eat Brussels sprouts. Jeremy said, seafood, it's always creeped me out. Me and you both, Jeremy. I can eat some seafood nowadays, but it's still not what I prefer. Turnip greens, hog gizzards, frog livers, roasted pig brains. Frank Costanza commented that one. Terry King says turnips. You don't like turnips, Terry? I don't know. I don't know if I've had enough turnips to really know if I like them or not, honestly. Kelly said liver. I cannot argue with that one. I can't even imagine a kid wanting to eat liver or anything like that. And of course, mine was green peas. That's one of them. But I also did not like zucchini or squash. And if my mom is watching this stream right now, she can definitely attest to that. Yeah, I was not a big fan of zucchini, and you could do anything with it. You could fry that zucchini. Nowadays, I can eat some fried zucchini, just like I can eat some fried okra. But back in the day, there is no way you could make some zucchini and get me to eat it. I was certainly not a fan of that. But that is just about all the time I have for today's Before the Four. Thank you all for sticking around and spending a bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Of course, enjoy tonight's evening newscast. And as always, you all have a great night.